Of my colleagues have been marking International Coffee Day all day, not just this morning. We talk to a local coffee company now that imports green coffee directly from origin. Just how different are these different coffees from different parts of the world? Well, with the answers, I've got with me Thoriso, Mafisa, and Nicodemus, Nabakwe, and you're with Sevenoaks Trading, and you supply coffee roasters in South Africa as well as neighbouring countries. Thank you so much for coming in this afternoon. We really do appreciate it. It's been a great excuse to talk about something that most people I know cannot even enter into their day without. Let's start with you, Thoriso. What is green coffee?
Well, green coffee, you know, from experience of being here, being in the coffee industry, you get to realize that the whole process of getting a quality standard of green coffee affects the whole process of roasting and getting the final product. At the same time, that helps when the final product is perfect, then your customers get to be happy and relate to the whole. They somehow relate to the whole process of why this thing was done and is being sold to you. So it's just a long story.
And how different is green coffee from your bog standard coffee beans that we get from various parts, especially of the continent?
Well, with what we do, I mean, because we get from various from various origins. So Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Ethiopia. So I think it depends on where you buy it. And that gives you the, what could I describe it as?
It gives you a different experience.
Yes, you get a different experience.
Where it's from.
Yes.
Nicodemus, let me bring you in there. You've come armed with very, very complicated-looking equipment, but I think we must get stuck in immediately. You've got two different kinds of beans here in front of us. Can you tell me what they are and what the differences are between them?
So what we've got here is actually what you mentioned earlier as green coffee. And for you to turn this raw product, which is actually an agricultural product, into roasted coffee, you have to take it through a roasting process. Okay. So we've got a roasted coffee here as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to take you through a brewing process, and we call it a V60 dripper method.
Okay, and I've seen this dripper method in some of the fancier coffee shops, especially in Maboneng, in the CBD. Yeah. And for me, I love it because it means I have to take my time and I need to wait for it to be ready. Yeah. How does the dripping technique change the quality and the taste of the coffee?
So what happens is, for you to brew a nice cup of coffee, you need water, which has to be hot. So
does it have to be boiling or warm?
Yes. You have to boil it to a certain degree, but then the correct brewing or temperature should be between, let's say, 92 to 96 degrees centigrade. So the longer the hot water takes onto the ground coffee, actually extracts the brew. So in this case, you have to work on a method, and in this case, we call it the gravity method.
The gravity method. And how long does that normally take? And do people understand that a good cup of coffee, like most things in life, takes time?
Of course it does. So this would take roughly between 3.5 minutes to 4 minutes for you to enjoy a good cup of coffee. And in this case, actually, we're brewing a coffee from the birthplace of coffee, that is from Ethiopia.
Ethiopia.
Yes. Because we understand that, you know, in Ethiopia, they say coffee actually grows organically. And they say from the moment the cherry falls off from a tree and onto the ground, it actually starts to grow immediately. So that's how deep the culture in Ethiopia is in terms of coffee.
Now, Thoriso, do you think that we have in South Africa become sophisticated enough in our coffee taste to be able to tell the difference between coffee from the birthplace like Ethiopia? Yeah. You hear great things about Rwanda. Yeah. I, a couple of years ago, was lucky enough to visit Vietnam, and they've got a beautiful coffee culture there as well. Are there distinct changes, or is it just the snooty people who say there is?
I really believe we're getting there. We really are, because, you know, from my experience and from my background, not knowing that coffee is a lifestyle. I used to drink coffee to be warm, you know. But now it's more of a culture where people come together, get to read, people from different backgrounds. And honestly, right now, you'd have people telling you, oh my word, coffee from Ethiopia gives you all these citrus notes or chocolatey notes, you know? So I really think we're getting there. I really, really believe so.
Now, Nicodemus, there are people that are purists about their coffee.
Yes.
And I get funny looks if I have my coffee with milk, as it were. I've got friends who still swear about drinking coffee. And adult people of my age who still swear by it. Do you think there's too much snootiness or snobbishness about coffee? Should it really just be what you prefer and how you like to have your coffee?
I tend to disagree because in the coffee world, we've got people who work so hard to make sure that we've got this product here on the table. And those people actually, it's the whole culmination of their effort that we've got the International Coffee Day today.
Yeah.
So the reason why we should
smells
appreciate...
It does. Sorry, I'm concentrating on what you're saying, but it smells divine. Go on.
Yes, the reason why we should appreciate this good cup of coffee is because of those hands which, you know, have really worked hard. So I would encourage everyone to try and buy a better quality cup of coffee. And in this case, we call it the specialty coffee.
Yeah.
Because the whole coffee industry is changing.
Yes.
People are appreciating, you know, all the nicer coffees in this world. And like Thoriso says, it's a lifestyle. You don't just get out there and, you know, go have a cup of coffee. But from the much you earn from your salary, spend a little bit of it, you know, on a nicer cup of coffee in these fancy restaurants.
Now, a lot of what people like you do is a style of making coffee that has been handed on from generation to generation, spreading back many, many, many decades, if not centuries. But they always see new waves of things coming forward. We had rooibos cappuccinos now that people like my mother like to drink. You can have a decaf coffee. But I've also been reading about things like matcha coffee. But then when I read about it, it's actually not a coffee.
No,
it's green tea. What is that about?
So, you see, when you come to the health-conscious people who actually look at caffeine, you know, in high intakes, like it will affect them, they tend to go to the lesser caffeinated drinks, and that's where we come in with the matcha green tea. You know, from a health-conscious side, yes, green tea is more healthier, you know, I would say, than coffee. But us coffee people, we're happy enjoying this delicious cup, you know.
And do you have a strict rule about what kind of coffee you have at what time of day? Earlier this year, I had to learn a few quick lessons because I went to Italy for the first time. And I was told, under no circumstances do you order cappuccino after midday because the locals will give you a dirty look. We're not that strict in South Africa, are you? If it's 2 o'clock or 4 o'clock, I've seen people have supper and then they order a cappuccino afterwards.
I don't think we're strict, no.
We're not that strict. Nicodemus, you seem to be the one who's a stickler for rules. Should we only be drinking cappuccinos in the morning and espressos and macchiatos in the afternoon, or what should our African approach be?
Yeah, I think every, you know, part of the world has their own way of life, and we should appreciate that. If the Italians actually stop drinking cappuccinos at 10 o'clock, give it to them, because they've got their reasons why. But you know, from where we work you know, we do a lot of tasting of coffee. So my cutoff time for coffee is probably 4 p.m. in the evening. After that, I don't want to have coffee because the mini cups that I go through,
I can imagine,
can wear me down. And if you're not hydrating,
I can't drink. I actually can't have coffee after around 2 o'clock because I always think I'm going to struggle to sleep. But because you've come to visit us, I need to try this. So very quickly, as we wrap up, I know we maybe haven't completed the process, but let's see what we can do.
So we're going to serve you an Ethiopia Guji.
Ethiopian Guji.
Yes. Guji, yes, from the Guji region. It's what we call a honey processed coffee. So there's different processing methods in coffee, and the honey process happens to be part of it.
Honey process, as in
honey process.
H-O-N-E-Y, honey.
Like honey.
Okay, and is this a dark roast, a medium roast, or what is this?
So that is a light to medium roast, which is enjoyed as a V60 dripper.
Am I supposed to smell honey?
Yes.
Because I can. I just wanted to check in case I was smelling things I wasn't supposed to smell.
And how's that?
That's amazing, right?
Now, you see, that I could drink without milk.
You don't need sugar.
You don't need sugar. I don't drink sugar in coffee at all. You do still get people who drink 3 or 5 teaspoons, but like you said, they can enjoy it the way we will. Is that your favorite kind of coffee?
Definitely.
So the Ethiopian Guji. Guji coffee. Well, you heard it here first from Thoriso, Mafisa and Nicodemus Nabakwe of Sevenoaks Trading. A beautiful light roast from Ethiopia. And those little undertones of honey. I'm sounding like an expert already, aren't I?
You are.
Thank you so much for coming to tell us more about your beautiful craft.